Oh, yeah.
There.
Did you submit your assignment?
Yeah,
Through what means?
should be WhatsApp.
WhatsApp?
Yeah. Should be WhatsApp and call. But I started.
Who is this girl you are supposed to be with?
Mary?
Mary Song.
Yeah.
This is a one semester course, isn't it? 1, 2.
Just one.
One. Yeah, so it seems we are far behind because we need now to start the actual writing. But interestingly, I think I was in the comfort zone.
what we can skip for now, which you may wish to look at your own opportune time. So I was looking at chapter okay, we did the entire chapter 12. Almost. Huh?
We did.
Yeah, almost. I remember the last topic was the influence of the law and regulation. You remember?
Yeah.
So we introduced the topic to say law is negative in nature. You remember? Then there are quite a number of laws that you should be mindful of and prepare also. And the kind of laws that will come every now and then to you are those laws pertaining to contracts. Because you shall be engaged in other services for your work as a PR officer to move. So you need to enter into contract with those vendors. So you need to master the law of contract. And we also mentioned about the commercial free speech, where I gave an example of the need to be honest, right?
Yeah.
In your advertising, for example, where I say it is different with politics. In politics, politicians are allowed to lie, okay? To lie to people and they get away with it. There is no law to punish them. If there was a law to punish them, by now the head of state and the deputy would have been taken to court. Because they've gone to Malawi and a lot of things, but they have not done it. So that is lie. They are unethical, but it's acceptable in politics. This is not the case in business. In business, you are not supposed to lie to customers. You cannot tell a client that this thing does ABCD when in effect it doesn't. So there are laws. For example, here we talk of competition and fair trade. Alright? Yeah, and the laws of libel, laws on privacy, copyright, and the other regulations. Alright? And thereafter, we were supposed to move on to the last influence. You remember, in our subsequent discussions, what we were looking at were those issues that will influence you as a PR writer. So other than the influence of the law and regulations, you remember we also mentioned about the influence of public relations standards, where you have the code of operation within the PR. You remember issues of accuracy, issues of being truthful, honest. You remember? We also talked about the influence of the organization and the industry standards. You work within that. So you are controlled by those influences. We also talked about personal standards, core values, and so on and so forth. Okay? So that was simply to prepare you. But as you are doing your work of writing, expect such external and internal influences to influence your working. Right? And we agree that in my introduction we said that is one reason why PR may not be as easy as some people believe. People think it's a matter of you sitting on your laptop, drafting a message and send it. You need to be considerate of these things. Even the public, they are put influence because they are homogeneous. they are diverse in nature, right? You see that, you say, okay, my fabric is a group of students, right? But you see that even amongst the students, they are humans with different beliefs and ideologies. In which case, though you are treating them as students, amongst themselves, they are different. Meaning that whatever message you be providing or you be sharing with them may be consumed differently. Right? So that we also discussed. And was it with you where I went on to discuss persuasion?
Persuasion?
Yes.
It should be.
Yes. I think I have done that also with a number of things, where we discussed about how persuasion is formed, issues of attitude formation, for example, right? So this topic comes in purely because in PR, it's about persuasion. You need to persuade somebody to think, to view, to perceive the way you want them to perceive. You want to convince them to like you or to like your institution. That's the whole essence of PR. If you go back to the definition, yes, there are many things, but the bottom line in PR is to ensure that you convince your public to view your institution in the way you want them to see it. And that process is nothing but persuasion. You need to persuade them. Right? So, that topic is very interesting. We did not finish because of time. It's in chapter 3. So I want you to find time to finish the entire chapter on your own. Going through it, you find that there is actually a subtopic on opinion formation and change, where you read something on opinion, attitude, and beliefs. You will also read about models of attitude formation and message reception. Another interesting topic, you also go through the nature of persuasion. What is nature? Through it, you read about the aspects. There is also what is called Rocket Value Hierarchy. This is a model that will demonstrate how the nature of persuasion, including the actual steps of persuasion. How do you move from A to B in order to persuade somebody? Right? So you can do that on your own, including typology of steps in persuasion. Apart from understanding the steps, what are the typologies of such steps? So you go through persuasion and logic, experience, perception, and so on and so forth. All these things border on trying to equip you on how to persuade somebody. Because PR is nothing but persuasion. Be it in writing, be it in speaking. You need to persuade somebody through speaking. Right? Pictures. You take pictures in PR, simply you want to persuade somebody. If you want to come up with a brochure, right? If you want to come up with what do you call it? You want to design something, right? Like a wedding message, for example, save the date, right? If you have gone through those, they become so colorful visually, right? The idea is you want to persuade someone. You say, oh, well, I think we will work or whatever. Right? So these are the skills which you need to understand as a PR writer. So that as you are taking your messages, right? Be it through photography, you need to know that this picture will indeed persuade somebody. Right? The kind of writing should be persuasive. I say, okay. Then you start changing your perception because you have been persuaded. Speaking, we have got speakers, public speakers, who when they are talking, everybody listens. These days, at continental level, we have people like Professor Lumumba of Kenya, you know. He's speaking is so persuasive that every time he speaks, people say, wow, this guy can speak, because you have been persuaded. It's nothing. Interestingly, I will say the same, exactly how Lumumba said, but failing to persuade someone. You know what? Yeah. So what is it that is in Lumumba? That when he's talking, he's able to persuade someone. That's another area where people have to manage, go to school, learn skills on how to speak to persuade somebody. It's not a matter of coming in front and start speaking. You'll be speaking facts, yes, but you're talking of issues of tone, intonation, visual, non-verbal, expression. All these things add on how you'll be able to persuade someone. Right? So there's a persuasion logic where expectation, for example, right? If you just see a video, then you see Lumumba, right? You already have the expectation. Say, it's him, let me read, let me see what he says. That expectation already, right, will add to whoever is opening that to easily be persuaded, because they already have expectation. This is somehow similar to experience. Experience matters, right? And of course, issues of connections, values, and so on and so forth. So, persuasion in communication, they go hand in hand with, it is persuasion is required at all levels of communication. Right? Persuasion is required from the source. And the source will create the message. Persuasion should be visible in the message. Then there's the medium. Right? Persuasion should be there in the medium. How do you think? How can you explain that aspect where persuasion and medium in communication should be visible? Because we have already wasted time. We have social media these days, isn't it? You will agree with me that perhaps these days, because we have mainstream media, right? Using social media. You have Zodiac Online, Times Online, MBC Online, right? So these are traditional media outlets using the social media. But you agree with me that I also contribute to communication through social media. So these days, anybody can simply wake up and write a story on social media. But when it comes to issues of persuasion, you see that there's still a difference reading a story on a publication that you don't know and reading the same story on Zodiac Online. That's why there could be an issue on social media. WhatsApp, for example. Alright? But people will still be skeptical to believe until maybe that thing is also written on mainstream media, big Zodiac Times, because people trust in these, people believe in these traditional media houses. So, all I'm saying is, when it comes to persuasion in communication, the medium matters, right? If you have got a message, then you want to share it through any other media. People will be skeptical to believe about it, right? These days, Antamaponya, Aya, Big Sana, Humuina, Ayuena, Wandachan, Ashkata, the Banki, they are living Big Sana, you know? Just to reach people. So you see that advocate in the social media. No, you see they have to open this link, then you are going to win, blah, 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 blah. ESCOM is doing free units, right? But if the ESCOM wanted to advertise that, would they use the social media? No. Definitely they will use the mainstream media houses at Nation, Times, Zodiac, NBC. Isn't it? But the bottom line is, if they use actively the social media, the first question will be, is this real or fake? Why am I asking that? It's because of the media. If it was NBC, would I even question? So, you are talking of the source, message, media, the public, and of course, the effect, and under it there is what is called an alternative theory. So, I thought that you can read on your own. Going on to chapter 4 is talking about research for public relations writers. That is very important. Research in public relations, there are two basic types of research. Whichever type of research, the bottom line is you need to plan. And under this, there's also a component where they're trying to categorize research for specific, for PRI, for you. Then there's also a component on research for storage and retrieval. Okay? I'm not sure if you have to go into details on this one, because as I said, we only have a few weeks now. Is it 8 weeks? I know you already have a course in research methods. You do? And when you talk of secondary source of research, for research, primary source of, let's say, data or research or information, you understand these things well, isn't it?
Yeah, but already it's in a big way.
Okay? And of course, there's a component of verification and what is called communication audit. I'm asking all these things because I'm tempted to skip this Maybe you can read this on your own, but it is very important that, or maybe I can just say something, because what I wanted was now for you and me to go straight into chapter 5, where, no, not even chapter 5. Chapter 5 is planning process. Yeah, planning process of the writing. Because before we actually start the actual writing, we need to know the planning processes. I know, that one I was also supposed to skip. I was supposed to go straight into part 2 of this book, which is writing principles, so that we now start the actual writing. But perhaps what we can do for today, let me just go through quickly, right? So that when you are reading on your own, you should have an idea. So that next week, going forward, then we should go straight into part 2, where now, which is chapter 6, where we are now talking of the writing principles. Because all we need to do from now onwards is to do the actual writing. Could be writing for broadcast, writing a press release, writing a brochure, writing for TV, writing for newspaper, all those kinds of writing. Because you are supposed to be trained as a PR writer. Okay? So I've done a lot of the basics to understand and appreciate. But we have to now start doing the actual writing. But perhaps we can be good planners by just going through fast some of these things that I just highlighted. So, for example, I think the opinion and things you can do it on your own, but maybe let's go to chapter 4 research and the chapter 5 planning process. Quickly. Ever heard of the 10 position paper? Okay. Okay. So chapter 4 talks about research for PR writing, right? So we'll just fast go through it. First to say research. What do you understand by the term research?
Just the systematic process that is conducted to find a solution.
Yes. Fact find. Right? Fact find. You want to find, you want to know the truth about something. That's research. Okay? Take that in the context of what we are in, right? Because you might give that definition to somebody else, they'll say no, because they've got their own definition. But for here, for basic reasons, research is nothing but fact finding. In here, you want to know, you remember telling the truth, being honest, you want to present facts only. Either for management to the public or public to the management. Fact. Right? So the so-called research, you should understand it in that context. In other words, some would say it is information gathering. Okay? Because you find fact after you gather information. So for you to be certain, to be sure of what you are saying, what you are writing, what you are doing, you need information. So you go, whether desk research is where you go on your computer, right? You log in on the internet, you start searching from the net, gathering information so that you have got facts. Right? The whole essence why you are required to cite when you are writing your assignment is to demonstrate that you really research and what you are bringing on table are facts. Because you are citing people or books that have been researched thoroughly to be published. So, in research, when you talk of research in PR, what you are trying to do is to gather information so that you have facts. Okay? So, in PR, what do we use that information for? says there are two purposes of doing research. The one purpose is to gather information for writing of all kinds. By all kinds here, you are talking of, we have agreed in previous lessons, and we have said it repeatedly, that writing for PR is not easy because you write, you don't specify. If you go to a newspaper, right, you might be a specialist in feature writing only. So all you shall be doing is to write feature. Alright? You specialize in writing an editorial, for example. Okay? You will be writing for art, for example. My short story. So that is a specific area. But in PR, right, you need to be a judge of all trades. You need to be a master in all these fields. That's why here the term is, one purpose of research is to gather information for writing of all kinds. The all kinds, meaning that you can write for TV, you can write for radio, you can write a press statement. These are all kinds of writing. So you do research first, right, to gather information for writing. So every kind of writing, you need to do research. You collect data and start writing. That's one. Number two, to measure how well we have succeeded in achieving our public relations goals. This is now the cost. Right? PR is a component that must be measurable. And that is the scientific part of public relations. You remember one of the definitions we said it is the science and the art. You remember? So the art part is the writing. The science part, partly, is where that component must be measured. For example, your kind of communication, right? You write whatever, be it a brochure, to persuade somebody, to persuade your public, to convince them, to inform them. The question is, how do you know that your message has been... Because I think there was a lesson where I was explaining that it's not just a matter of utenda by NBC and Canberra. Cholinga utenda by NBC is to make people, for example, if he is advertising or calling upon Malawians to go and register for them to vote. Okay? What will be the measure of the effectiveness of their message? Is it how many people have listened to the message? No. Because your target goes beyond the number of people listening. Your target goes up to the number of people that are going to be registered and the number of people that are going to vote. Because you can listen to the message, isn't it? I mean, I will have a register. And you don't do anything. Has the message achieved its goal? No. So it's not a matter of how many people have listened, but how many people have done what you intended them to do. That's why the second purpose of research is to measure how well we have succeeded in achieving our public relations goal. The goal was not for people to listen. The goal was, after people have listened, they have to take an action. Now the question is, have they taken the action? How many have they taken action? So that is measurable. Okay? This book says it's It's much easier and quicker today to get information, but lot riskier to find. Rather, it is much easier and quicker today, but a lot riskier to find information. Is that true? It is much easier and quicker today, but a lot riskier to find information. You can quickly find information, isn't it? You can easily find information, isn't it? But they're saying it is risky. Easier but risk.
That's because social media, most media sources are not authentic.
Yes, but the other issue would be these days, through the same social media, you see public documents that are not supposed to be in the public domain, right? Loose meanings, right? Letters from government. Pakati hapo mati atone general kulemba kalata akulembera anti-corruption bureau anti-private alarm social media, isn't it? Much easier, but riskier, because that information which is not supposed to be for public consumption finds itself in the public domain, right? They can come to you and say, where did you get this information? They can actually arrest you. Because that public is not for public. That information is not for public consumption. So it's easier to get it, but very risky. Right? Here they're giving an example where the easier part. You simply log in the search engine, Google, right? You just tell it what you're looking for. And if you search, go through it, score through the internet for that kind of information. Here, the riskier part is, they are saying that the search engine, the Google, does not have the skill to recognize the difference between biased information and unbiased information. When you Google something, there'll be a lot of information coming out, right? But the Google will not tell you that this article is fake, this article is true. So you have the information, but likelihood of you using wrong information is very high. You know, on Google, is it as of a few years ago, 75% of the information on Google was unverified and mostly fake. There are some search engines where every information you get there is credible, but perhaps they are not cheap. You have to subscribe and pay. But Google is garbage in, garbage out, free for all. So you need to be careful, because you can find information on Google thinking that this is credible, and you are going to use that information only to realize that the information is fake. And as a media person, as a PR person, if you send fake information, it will backfire on you. Okay? So in which case, you as a PR person, you must develop those skills, right? That can ensure that you have strategies that will help you to select and use information that is only credible. As I said, one approach is to rely on those search engines that are credible, right? Here they're giving examples of websites of organizations such as the U.S. Bureau of the Census and other government agencies. So, if you want information, it's not simply just trying to go on Google and put in a word. Go straight to website of credible institution and get information from there. Okay, here they are saying getting information from the web. Remember, we're doing research here, right? And usually, the very most common source of information, we say research is getting information or fact finding. So the most common source of information is the internet. These days, very few people go into the library and get the books. Am I right?
Yes.
Because we are lazy. At least we know all those books in the library, they are credible source of information. But we run away from reading books, we want to go on the internet. Alright? So we are saying, getting information from the web is a bit problematic because there are no traffic cops. Palile apolisi one nakutia izinzaboza izinzabini. Right? People have used the Wikipedia. You know Wikipedia, right? Is Wikipedia credible? Why not?
The information is dynamic.
Yes, anybody can edit Wikipedia, isn't it? I can get information there, I add my own information. Is there evidence that whatever information I add is credible? But these guys, they are a very big reference website on the internet. And a lot of people use Wikipedia. It is discouraged for students at this level to cite Wikipedia as a source. Right? And if in any of your assignments you cite wikipedia.com